Is this the start of something beautiful?
I think so.
Okay, I love that. Okay, welcome back, Allie.
Oh, hi,
Quite the intro.
Oh my God. Wait, is that going on there?
I'm gonna have to figure out where to edit that out.
No. That needs to be edited out.
I can do that.
I'm just going to be in the background the whole time just wheezing this entire interview.
I'll cut that out.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
So Allie was one of our trip reports in season 2. And for those who have not listened, I think Leah and I pretty much peed ourselves the entire interview.
I also cried.
Well, yes, you did make us cry.
I'm so good at that.
So,
I make my
But
mom
you made
cry.
up for it.
I mean, I make my mom cry all the time, so.
Doesn't take much for me.
No, it really doesn't. But we are excited to have you back on season 3. I thought you were just so entertaining and you just make me laugh. But also, you have a lot of depth to you as well.
You're a really great storyteller.
You are a very great storyteller.
And I don't want to say entertainer because it's not like you're here to entertain us, but like you make something so like boring into something really fun and interesting.
Well, I'm a generator.
I don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Energy.
I think it does.
Maybe?
Because
Okay.
even when she is talking about deep, dark, heavy stuff, the trauma that you've been through, like you have a way of like putting this little funny bow on it where it's even through the dark, heavy shit.
It's
you
like
still
easy to
find
palate.
you still find the comedy. You still find the like.
That's a way to live.
It is a way to live.
It really is.
It makes things, yeah.
It's a gift.
It's, sometimes the only way I can get through it.
Okay. Would you say that humor is your coping?
Yes. Yes.
I don't know though, because I feel like it's like that is something that is just who you are.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. It's
Very.
how she's always been.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have clown blood in me. I mean,
I don't like DNA. Like my family came from the circus.
I am just a funky little dude. I can't
well.
help it.
And before we started, I said I wanted to go into something. And you were like, "That's perfect," because that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And I really want to go into like where you are now versus where you were when you had your very first mushroom journey, which was, when was the date?
October 2022.
Okay,
So
18 months ago.
year and a half.
You've had another one recently, and we'll get into that one. But from your first one, when did we interview her? Like 6 months after, maybe?
I think.
Like that.
Maybe,
What
yeah.
has happened since then? What has life looked like since then? Where are you now?
Where are they now? Okay, let's see. So I think right after I interviewed with you guys, I rode that high on that first trip for a long time,
What's a long time?
like months. I mean, I was still riding it when I interviewed with you guys. And then I microdosed. I think it was right about after that I started microdosing. And like my first round of microdosing, I was doing, I think, a 12 weeks on and 4 weeks off, or 8 weeks on, 4 weeks off, something like that. And I was just doing it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That worked best for me. And again, that first round, it was like, still, I'd come to work and people were like, "Oh my God, you're so fun to be around." They could even tell when I'd come to work on Friday versus coming to work on Thursday that I was a little bit different. Again, just like riding that high, feeling it. And I was like, this is the good life. And then I took my break, my 4-week break. And when I went for round 2, it was like nothing happened. Like I wasn't feeling the same. I mean, I was fine in the sense that I wasn't like, hadn't fallen back into deep depression, but it just was like, okay, things are back to normal, which I think is when all of a sudden it hit and it was like, it's work time, babe. Like, it's work time.
Like you gotta stop riding that high.
Yes. Like you did, because I was kind of like falling back on it, like on, it's given me a boost and it's, my
Life is
personality.
great.
Life is great. And then, yeah, I got back to all of a sudden it was like, no, like it's not like a one-time hit and it just works for forever. Like it's time to do some hard stuff.
I'm glad you're saying this because
Absolutely.
we talk a lot about integration because I think that there can be a lot of confusion around that word and what that means. And there are a lot of people who ride that high. They have that high for a while. They have this really wonderful journey or really profound healing journey. And then they think that that's it.
And it's harder if it's not like a dark journey, if it's like all like you feel good. Mm-hmm. You're like, how do you integrate that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can't remember if I said this on the last podcast, but I did my journey. We did my first journey on a Saturday, and I remember I had explained about how my big thing was clarity about whether I should get a divorce, and my life was going to change. I did that journey on Saturday, and on Sunday was when my ex-husband walked in my room and said, "I think it's time for a divorce." So I mean, it was like, oh, this is integration. Like it happened like that, and it was like everything that I was looking for happened 24 hours later, and so it was kind of like. Yeah, it was so great, and what I wanted happened, and then
but you didn't even have to do anything.
I didn't have to do anything, and it turned into this like I said after that first round of microdosing. All of a sudden, I was like, what is it? Literally, what am I supposed to do? Like, what is integration? Like,
what were you saying about? What were you saying? I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I don't remember what I was saying, but I think a good maybe lesson in this is. Integration never really stops.
No.
Even when, okay, so you did get the divorce and you did that. But it's like there's always still work to do. There's always still healing to do. And not saying that healing has to be always heavy and hard and dark, but healing can also be light and laughter and fun and all of that. But like it never ends.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And healing for me was... honestly just a lot of letting go of these like this perfectionism like we just talked about and it was these rules that I had for myself that it just and I think I had told you too how when I feel the need to work on things like because I'm very self-aware like when I go into therapy I'm like I tell my therapist I'm like this is what's wrong with me and this is where it comes from and this is what I need to do. And she's like, okay, why are you paying me?
Carol Ann.
Yeah, it's Carol Ann. I love Carol Ann.
I love Carol Ann.
And so she's like, okay, but are you doing it? And that's the problem. I sit here and I can analyze everything. And she's
you
like,
intellectualize everything.
It? Yes. Are you doing it, Alyssa? And I'm like, I mean, I'll get to it. She's like, maybe.
Eventually.
And so I just had all these rules for myself and this, I can't do this and I can't do this. And so it turned into this, okay, I need to integrate. I need to do the work. I need to, get this figured out. And I went into like a hole. I don't mean like a bad hole. I mean like nobody touched me. I'm like having enrichment time in my enclosure. Like this is.
I love that TikTok.
Mess with me. I didn't go out. I barely talked on the phone. I don't even think Christina. I don't think we hardly texted. Mm-mm. I was not. Every month, my mom was like, is your phone turned off? Are you really busy? You don't talk to anybody. I wasn't hardly talking to my sister. I went full hermit mode. And then it turned into this kind of shell of protection where then I started getting like, oh, I've been, I was literally just in my house. Like every day that I wasn't at work, I was just in my house. And then it turned into this, like, it's so comfortable and it's so nice. And, like, now I don't want to go back out. And, like, it's safe. And I don't want people to mess up the safe. Like, I'm working on it. Because, my sister and I are very, I
do that.
Cracking my knuckles. We're very open and honest with each other. And we are there's no holds barred with us. Like, we tell it like it is. And she, I'd say something like, oh, I can't do that. And she's like, yes, you can. I was like, bitch, no, I can't. And I would sit there, I can't go out. I can't go out to the bar. I can't do this. I have to stay home and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, you just need to do. Like, just do. Doesn't matter what it is. Just go out to a bar with your friend. Like, no intention of going home with a guy or no intention. Just do. And I was like, no, the bubble says no. I'm working on myself still. I'm working on myself.
And to add to that, so... For those who have not listened to the episode about her first journey, you got married very young.
Yeah.
You went to a Christian college where you weren't able to like associate with the opposite sex off campus. Like there were very, very, very strict rules. So the religious trauma that in you is very strong.
Yes.
And you're 34 years old. This is the first time in your life you've ever really been single, had the opportunity to date. So
been allowed.
Just been allowed
to be.
So right. So that's a big like hurdle to overcome. And dating is hard. Dating now is so hard.
I could not even imagine.
Dating post-divorce, speaking from experience, it's incredibly hard to put yourself out there because it's different than when you're dating somebody in high school or you're dating somebody in college and they're just there and you're drinking and whatever, where it's like you're actually like dating and having
actively
conversation. Like it's just a weird, and everything's on the internet and Tinder and Hinge and all the things. It's a whole different fucking ball game.
I mean, and it was so nuanced for me to like, even to the point where I was like, okay, the last time I had to actively get a person to like me, like with the intention of dating, I was 22, right? So I'm thinner and I have, better skin and my hair is longer and I'm this and all these things. And I'm like, it was easy at 22. You walk into a Denny's and raise your hand and there's a line of 15 people ready to go. Like
Denny's? So random. What the fuck?
Like there's no trying. You go out, you get numbers, there's nothing, you don't have to do anything.
And you just, it's like, oh, you go out, I go out too. Oh, you're in college? Me too.
College. What's your major?
Right.
Like
there's not depth really at that age.
Like a guy would come up to the bar and be like, oh, you're having a drink? Me too.
Yeah.
That was it.
Literally.
And now I'm like, okay, now I'm 34.
What's your trauma?
And I have to like, it was like, I couldn't put in my head together that someone could like me as I am now. Like, cause even, my ex-husband, I thought, well, he started liking me when I was 22 and it just grew. And so he didn't recognize, you know what I mean? I felt this sense of like, he didn't notice that I'd gained weight and he didn't notice that I looked a little different because we had both grown for 11 years together. And so I still looked very similar, but just coming out of the gate like this, I just was, convinced that I was going to walk into a bar and they were going to be like, get out. Shit. You can't come in here.
You monster. You gay. You
old hag.
Loving monster.
Yes. You went to Blockbuster? How old are you? Get out of here. Had absolutely... morphed into my brain. Like, there's no way someone could like 34-year-old Alyssa. And so it was like was integrating all these things with getting over trauma from, marriage, from divorce. And then, of course, there was the mother wound that I did finally, that actually got kind of resolved. So I finally come over all these things. And then, like I said, there's a whole new set of problems. And I'm like, bitch, I'm tired. Like, I worked on this for a long time. Yeah. And now I got new things. And and it got to the point, I even with Carol Ann, my therapist, all last year, every therapy session, I'm doing EMDR, every therapy session was mainly about my mother. It was either about religious trauma or my mother and, how all that kind of shaped my life. Well, it was literally in December of this last year where it just dawned on me where I was like, you know what? I'm not going to get from her the relationship that I need. It's just not going to happen. But she's not going to get the daughter that she wants. She wants me to go to church and she wants me to, whatever, get married again and all this nonsense. So neither one of us are going to be what the other one needs. So that's fine. I've accepted it. And now it's kind of just, ever since I stopped trying to perform for her, she's a little bit easier to talk to. We still, we don't talk every day. We're not like best friends, but we still talk every now and again. It's easier going home. And I just fully release that, like, I'm not going to get the mother that I think I need.
You see and accept her for kind of where she's at.
For where she's at. And I think I've said this before, but she did the best with what she was given. And I have just realized that it's not how she thinks about me and what she wants from me is really not my business. Like, I am who I am. She can want what she wants, but that's it. And so I really kind of healed that. That was like in December on one of my last sessions in December. And her and my dad ended up coming up like a week or so after Christmas for literally one day. We like just went to dinner and walked around downtown and then they left. And it was like the best 4 hours I've had in forever. Like we had conversation and we talked and I was like, oh, all I had to do was let go. Oh my God. Like, I just had to like let go.
You're saying it like it's so fucking easy,
Right?
but that
Like,
I get it because it took me 12 years
yeah.
to get to that with my mom and just be like, I just need to stop expecting her
Yes.
to show up for me the way that I would like her to because she's not capable of that. And I may never get that and I'm okay with it.
Yes. That was
So
the
that
biggest
level
thing.
of acceptance, it's wild.
It was.
And I also feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like energetically, without me even saying a word about it, I feel like she gets that. Like she understands that there is this,
Yes.
like it's hard to explain, but I'm like, she doesn't do the things to me that she used to. She doesn't push the way that she used to. She doesn't seem as judgmental as she used to. And maybe it's all in my fucking head, but I swear to God, there's this like energetic exchange between us now that's reciprocated.
Yes.
Because it's the same thing. I think she's okay with who I am.
And
if she's not, she's doing a really fucking good job of hiding it because she never would have been able to hide it before.
yeah, it feels less like, I get, because this is how I describe it. I used to get this all the time. Alyssa. That's what I get all the time. When I talk about things or I just get this big sigh. And I haven't gotten one of those in a while. And so I agree with you. It feels like I think she's picked up on
what you're putting out.
Yeah, what I'm laying down. That she's really not going to change me. That this is who I am now. And that I am confident in it, because even when I just went back a weekend or so ago and I get you just look so good. Because she says this a lot to me, and I know that she can't figure out what it means, but she'll say, your skin is so clear. Your hair is growing so long and healthy. And I'm like, I know, because I'm healing on the inside. Like, that's why. Like because I got divorced and because I'm
Happier.
Doing the work.
Yes,
You're doing the work.
My body is not
Like you're glowing.
Yes, it's not eating itself from the inside out. Like I move better, I feel better, my hair is growing, like all these things. And I don't think she can equate that, but I think she's getting there. She's at least acknowledging like, you're different. And I'm like, yes, thank you.
It reminds me of the first time you and I met after mushrooms and you were like, something's different. You're different.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just an energy.
Yes.
That you're like putting out.
I mean, that was why I contacted her in the first place. We hadn't talked in however long. And then all of a sudden I kept seeing her on Instagram and I was like,
you're different.
What is that bitch doing? Because there's something.
Is this a new skincare?
Got a secret.
You glowy bitch.
She's got something and I want it.
What are you doing?
Yes. And I just, that was in December and it was like, oh, it's just such a big breath of fresh air that I could just kind of put that on the back burner and not have to put all my energy into it. So then I go back to therapy in January and Caroline is like, okay, so time to start talking about sex and intimacy. I was like, man, fuck you.
Let me sit in this wind.
Yes. And it was like, I just spent a year battling this. And then all I could think about was, what if this doesn't take me a year to overcome? What if this takes me longer? What if I am sitting here in 2 years of therapy and EMDR and I'm still talking about I had a full-fledged panic attack in the office just talking about sex. Just talking about it. She brought it up and she was like, I think we're going to stop right there. Like,
oh yeah, you did tell me that.
I mean, it wasn't just like I don't really know if I can I mean, it was a fear, like an actual fear of the thought of someone touching me or seeing me or I mean, I was frozen.
I am in shock right now.
After the conversation.
After the conversation we had earlier.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I am in shock.
I know. I also want to apologize.
For what?
Because I feel like there have been times where I unknowingly put pressure on you because I think you and I have just such this great banter back and forth. And
I love it.
I love it too. But when it comes to like dating, I've been like, go out.
Just put yourself out there.
Just put yourself out there. Go on a date. Like, hook up with somebody if you want to, if that's what feels right for you. Mm-hmm. Where you really weren't ready. And
No.
it took time. And I didn't necessarily realize that. So,
But I didn't use my words, so
yes, but I
you
apologize.
don't have to apologize.
I love you.
You're forgiven anyways.
Oh
You don't
my
have to
God,
apologize.
I love what just happened.
It was, so I just had this conversation last night. This is the weird thing, is that I don't like being told what to do. That's my biggest thing. Don't tell me what to do. So, but then it's morphed with this. If I don't get somebody to push me sometimes, I'll never do anything.
Right.
Right.
And so there's such this fine line of like, I need people to push me, but don't tell me what to do. How fucking confusing is that?
No, I 100%
Yeah.
get
You guys
that.
are very alike in the sense because when you guys get into dark places, you guys isolate.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
bad and for like a long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so that's where I was kind of riding this line of like, and I knew, and this isn't, to say anything against you, I knew people had good intentions with it, but I was getting it from work too. So
I'm sure.
So are
Yeah.
you
And your
dating?
sister
Yeah.
and-
So are you dating my mom? You think you'll ever get married again? So are you dating?
Yeah.
Is there anybody out there?
It's pressure.
Yeah. And it was like, not that people were like, hey, I have a blind date for you, or hey, you need to whatever. But it was very casual, but I was something inside of me was like, quit fucking asking me. Like I couldn't put my finger on it. And this is the other problem that I have is a lot of times I can't, like when people are like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, no, how do you? And I'm like, no, really, I don't know. Like I can't, I have a hard time like locking down what my feelings are. And I couldn't pinpoint what it was that had me so scared, whether it was just physical intimacy, whether it was vulnerability, whether it was like just being perceived, whether there was this sense of guilt with
Probably was all of it.
it was this whole mixture of like, I felt, even though, we're getting divorced, we hadn't signed the papers yet, but like we're getting divorced, and it was like a couple months ago, and I thought, I can't go on a date until the papers are signed. Like there was some sense of betrayal with my ex-husband, even though he's like, man, get out there. I mean, he's, because
He's giving you permission too.
Yeah, because I give him permission. I was like, go do whatever you want to do. You get after it, boy. And he's like, yeah, you do the same. And I'm like, no, that only stands for you. That's not for me. Like there's this sense of I can't betray him. I can't do this, and I can't. And it was just this whole mixture. And then, like I said, sometimes it just has to break. It just has to come from me.
Well, and you texted me and you said something about like, okay, Steven is like legit dating.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Your ex.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, her ex-husband. So she's like, I think I'm like ready to do something about this.
Yeah. Because when he told me that, and he told me with full intention of being respectful.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we, and he had promised me that before he left. He said, I'll tell you out of respect because I don't want you to get blindsided by something. I would never want you to like somebody be like, hey, did you see him? He was like, I will tell you out of respect for you, which I fully appreciate. So he calls me and he tells me one night. And I thought, because I knew that it was going to happen one day.
Yeah.
And I was expecting this, like, to hang up the phone and just have this, go into my hole for the next 3 days, isolate, be so upset. And it was like the overwhelming joy that I felt for him. Like, oh my God, I was so happy. I was so happy for him because he, for the longest time, would say, I'll never be with anybody else. I'll never be with anybody else. And I was like, I hate that. Like, he's such a good guy. And, like, he wants to be a dad. And that wasn't something I could give him. And I was like, go out there and find some hot mom. Like, with some kids. Oh, my God. Like, you'd be such a good father. And so for him to say, I'm going on a date, oh, my God, I'm so happy. And it was like, I can have that too. Like, because then all of a sudden it hit me. He's not going to be mad at me. Like, if I were to turn around and call him and say, hey, I have a date, he's not going to be like, are you serious? He's going to feel the same.
Be happy for you.
He would be happy for me. And it was...
I really love the love that you guys still have for each other.
I was just going to say that.
Like, they met at such a young age, and, like, they both have...
You guys are like divorce goals.
You kind of are. You guys should have kind of had a kid. You guys probably would have been great co-parents. I'm just kidding.
Co-parented the shit out of that kid.
Like, this is literally like...
Look how much love you're getting.
This is such a good example of like a divorce and still remaining friends and respectful of each other. And I don't even know the guy, but I'm like, he sounds like such a good guy. And
Well,
you know,
and you
it's
guys-
even it's okay
such a
that you
good
guys
guy.
weren't right for each other.
Yeah.
Once upon a time, maybe you were.
Yeah.
And I know that like it's different, but like I don't know, there was probably some lessons in that that
Yeah. And like,
But I
didn't
think he
see at the
sees the
time.
lessons too. Like,
Yeah.
I think he saw the lessons when you guys separated
Yeah.
on the things that he needed to work on.
And this is the other thing that, you know, it's a lot of like, well, you know, because some people that know me and don't know him are like, you know, well, you deserve this and you deserve someone who does this and you blah, blah, blah. And I think it was maybe my sister, I can't remember. And I said, he deserves that too. Because let's be real, I wasn't some like shining Stepford wife for him.
Yeah.
He deserves what's better for him too.
Yeah.
He deserves
Yeah.
someone who's going to give him the things that I couldn't or didn't. And that's, he needs that. I don't want him to be, you know, withheld from the love that is right for him. While I'm sitting over here going, oh, it's a piece of shit on my end, but I need to get back. No, like he needs it too. And I think he's seen that like in such a like, because we've said before, you know, he, at the very beginning of this, he'd said something about like, well, I'm sorry that it failed. And I was like, 11 years of marriage is not failure to me.
wow.
Like this is, I don't see it as a failure. I see it as 11 years that we got to spend together, learning about each other, learning what we like and what we don't like. And it just, sometimes things just go separate ways. They just do. And like, especially growing up in the religious, you know, community.
Right, where
that
like
is-
divorce is bad.
Divorce is bad no matter what happens.
Right, you
divorce is bad.
stay.
Yes, it was, and I think I might have talked about this in the last podcast too, is that for a long time I thought to myself, oh, I'm going to say this and you're probably going to cry. And I've told my therapist this too. I wish he would have, for when people would say, you know, I'd say, I'm getting a divorce. And they would say, what happened? What happened? What happened? I almost wish he would have just abused me so I could have had an excuse. Because I couldn't fathom, like I couldn't admit that we're getting divorced because
he's a
it's
great
just
guy.
what's best for me.
Holy fuck.
Like
No, I understand
needed-
exactly what you're saying.
I needed there to be something.
We were just talking about this, not in a relationship standpoint, about how Leah and I both struggle with people pleasing and we struggle with letting people down. And we feel like we need to, I literally just did it. Like, I feel like I need to have an excuse to say no to that person.
Yes.
I feel like this is more common than it isn't.
Yes.
It's even with my hairdresser. Like she wants to cut her hours, but won't be. And she is like banking on her husband to get another job to work a different set of hours because then she's like, because then I can tell my clients I can't work these hours anymore.
Instead of
telling
just
him you're not
telling-
working those hours anymore.
Yeah.
And I get that. Like I was the same way. Like I wanted to cut back on my hours and I didn't until my husband went back to school and it was like, well, he's going back to school. So it's like I have this excuse,
Yes.
not because I wanted to, but I did. I wanted to for years.
And it, I mean, even at work, hey, can you stay extra? Well, I can't because I this or this. And when all I have to do is go, no,
No,
not
I
tonight.
can't. Yeah.
No. And like, I needed some, not that I wanted to make him out to be a bad guy.
No.
But I couldn't admit that I'm doing it because I want to and because it's what's best for me.
That's
Wow.
a really big thing
Yeah.
to admit to.
Yeah. Well, and now I am fully like, that's another thing that overcame. Now when people say, oh, you got divorced, I'm so sorry. And I go, no, don't be. It's good for both of us. We're amicable. We're friends.
Yeah.
It's good. We're good. And some people will still, did something? No, nothing happened. It's just what was best for the both of us.
I feel like failure is such a fucking scam.
It is.
It is such a scam. Like you try something and it fails. It wasn't a failure because then you tried the thing that worked.
Yeah.
Like, so it was just a step.
You're so right.
Like that should be one of those things that's like, it's not a flex, but like failure is a fucking scam.
Yeah. And I've morphed into this kind of like, I think people come into your life when you need them most. And I think they leave when they, I don't want to say serve their purpose.
I
It sounds
believe
a little
that.
shitty, but
They've
don't.
fulfilled their soul contract
Yes.
in your life, your
Not-
karmic lessons. And I know that's a little woo woo and out there, but
I
like
love
I
woo-woo.
fully believe that like we are all here to serve a purpose. And sometimes that purpose is in someone's life for a short period of time.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean you have to stay.
And like bittersweet to me is such like that feeling of that bittersweetness. Like my best friend from high school, I mean, we inseparable, right? I mean, we finished each other's sentences. People could hardly tell us apart. I mean, it was just, and that was one of those things when you're in high school, you think it's going to last for forever. Well, now, I went home this last weekend and I see her and I think we said, hello, how are you doing? And she's got 2 beautiful children and we talked for maybe 5 minutes. We didn't speak again, hugged each other goodbye, and that was that. And that was, my mom was a little bit like, well, you guys didn't really talk. And I was like, because that's not who we are anymore. We had this great friendship. Now it's over. And I don't mean over. I mean, it's one of those I wish the best.
Right. There wasn't a falling out.
No,
there
it's
wasn't anything
just
crazy.
done.
Yeah.
I mean, if every single person that we meet that we become friends with is supposed to be in our lives forever, like,
Oh my God, I would not be able to keep
that.
up.
I don't have time for that. And it just, there's so many of these small little nuanced things that have been coming out in the last like month or so of just, enjoying the people that I'm around now instead of being so stuck in this nostalgia or this, oh, well, I used to do this and who I used to be. And that, like I said earlier, that's who I was when I was 22. And people won't like me when I'm 34. It's who I was when I was 22 and who I was when I was 25. And there was something, there's a girl on Instagram, I cannot remember her name, but she does spoken word poetry. And she was talking about how every phase of you is a good phase. And one of them was, she said something along, I hope I can get this right, something about when you look at old pictures and you wish you looked like that physically, but you don't want to be there mentally. And I thought, because I used to do that, scroll through my pictures and go, just 3 years ago, I was 30 pounds lighter. Just 2 years ago, I fit in those jeans and I don't wear them anymore. And then I sit there and I look at that picture and I go, you were a miserable bitch. You were wearing a smaller size jeans and you were miserable.
Yeah.
And like,
It doesn't equate to happiness.
no. And I'm just so this, I know I said to you earlier, but like your second life begins when you stop giving a fuck about everything.
Do you want to know? I feel like we've probably heard older people saying that for years.
Mm-hmm.
I swear to God, they've been saying it for years. Your second life begins when you stop giving a fuck.
Yes.
We didn't get it because we still gave a fuck.
But I think you have to go through it and you have to have the experiences and you have to live it
Yeah.
to embody it.
Yeah. And you have to have those lessons. I think it was you that I sent something to the other day where it was like, if I look back on pictures of me 10 years ago and be like, God, I still wish I looked like that. Like, wasn't it you that I sent that something like that to? And it was like, and then the photos of me now in 10 years, I'm going to look back at and be like, God, I still wish I looked like that.
Yes.
So that's not it. That's
when
not,
does it end?
It doesn't end
does
if that's what you're looking at. But like, if you're looking at like how you felt and how authentic you were and your life and your purpose and your like the people around you, like I wouldn't go back to that versus now for anything in the world.
No. I was sitting there thinking, laying in bed last night thinking, as one does, as I always do. And I thought to myself, in the last just 5 years, I mean, I was an actual zombie. Like I was so numb. I couldn't think straight. So even last night, so I went out with my friend last night. We were having a good time. And I told you I was texting someone and he had texted me and said something and I came back with the quick wit. And of course, as girls do, she's reading over my shoulder every time. And she said, "You're really quick-witted." And I said, "Yeah, I'm going to be honest. It's coming back to me because for a while there, when I was in full zombie mode, I couldn't hardly string sentences together. I mean, I couldn't.
It's coming back.
It's coming back because I was real sharp in high
your
school.
Groove?
Yeah, you got that pizzazz.
I got a little sparkle.
Well, and here's the thing. So how long have we known each other? 10 years?
I started
9 years?
I started going to the gym
8
in
years?
2016.
Okay.
I can't do math.
8 years. 8 years. Okay. So we've known each other for 8 years. And I've always thought that you are funny, but there is now much more, and maybe it's because it's in me too. There's much more of like a lightness to you.
Mm-hmm. There was
and
such
like a
hesitancy.
freeness.
I was so hesitant about everything. Everything.
You were much more rigid. You were still funny, still witty,
Yes.
but there was like a little bit of a dark cloud around
Like a
you.
barrier.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even when I would let it out sometimes, you know what I'd immediately do when I'd say something kind of weird or something out there?
Did you retract it?
Sorry. Oh, that was weird. Sorry. I mean, like immediately.
Yeah.
And so it was like, because it just, again, so concerned of what if I say something totally goofy and they don't laugh at my joke? Like, people have to think I'm funny. Not me if I'm not funny.
So funny.
So, okay, I want to backtrack a little bit
Well, sorry.
because I know that you have done another journey since then, but I want to talk about how you knew it was time for another journey. Because here's the thing, the way that you explained, like you were riding that high and then you realized like, oh shit, now I have to do the work. A lot of people don't get to that part of like, now I have to do the work. Like they're just like, life is good. And then they like fall back into a depression and they're like, oh, well, it didn't work. I guess it didn't work.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, it did. You just didn't do anything with it. And now you're right back where you started. So you're going to have to put in double the effort.
Yes.
But I think a lot of, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I guess what I was trying to say is like, for me, it was a long time before I did another journey because I just kept saying, but like, why didn't that last one work? Like, I shouldn't have to be reaching to do another journey to like live life or to get through this next chapter. But I think it's important to be honest with yourself and say like, no, now it's on to the next thing. And now I've worked on A, B, C from my last journey, but that doesn't mean I'm fucking fixed. That's never going to happen. But I need a little push. Like we were talking about earlier, sometimes you need that push, but you don't want to be told what to do.
No.
You need that push to get over or to get clarity on the next step. Like, all right, what am I ready for now?
Well, and that's exactly what happened.
Okay.
I just kept sitting there and I kept thinking,
You were stuck?
I'm stuck. I think I might have used that word with you.
Well,
I'm stuck.
And
That's what it feels like, is stuck.
It was that text. It was like, okay, my ex is out dating and doing. All right, I'm ready.
Yes.
I'm ready to do something about this now.
Yes.
But there's this block.
Yes. And it was, again, it came back to, I can't figure out why. And so, and I needed something to open.
Can I say something that Endora said?
Okay.
How to know when you're ready for another journey. Figure out your question and what you need, and then let the mushrooms assist you in your why.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's how you know. If you can't do it on your own, and that's not even saying like you didn't try. You were fucking trying. You were trying with every tool you had to get there. You're like, I know what it is. I know what I need to do. I just can't get there. I need to figure out why I can't get there.
And I had started, I had increased like exercising, right? Like, so me and my friend walk every Wednesday. We call it Walkie Talkie Wednesday.
Love
Where
that.
we go walk at Beckley Creek and pretty much just talk shit about our coworkers and like everything else. You know what I mean? We like mental health Walkie Talkie Wednesday, and we just yabber for like 3 hours.
Oh, you are a yibber yabber.
Yes, I am.
You are so yappy.
I love that.
I love it. I love to talk. And so we do on Wednesday, and her and I were very intentional about eating better and eating breakfast and lunch. So I'm eating so much better. You know, my sister she's so hippy dippy, and I love it. You know, she's over here.
I love it.
Yes. And, you know, she's over here with her herbs and her tea, and I'm taking some Chinese herbal medicine. And again, it's these things, and I had good intentions, and I was doing some yoga, and I was meditating, and then at the end of it, I just go, the fuck, none of it's working. like it's still, I felt so blocked, and I couldn't figure out where I was blocked, whether it was my head, whether it was my heart, and so that's why I thought, man, fuck that. I just need something to just blow my mind open and say, this is what it is. This is what we need. And I thought,
I love this.
God, what better way than drugs, man? I mean, worked for me last time.
It worked last time.
Medicine.
And that's the thing. You weren't
Medicine.
like, well, clearly it didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, you were like, no, it did work.
It did.
It did what it needed to do.
And that's where I thought, to me, it wasn't, oh, I got to go back and fix this problem. This is a new problem.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a new journey for a separate journey for a separate problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, it's almost like, it's not a line. To me, it's
not linear.
It's the second. Like, here's my first journey, and I'm working on the things, and it's still ongoing. But I didn't tack on my journey at the end of it. I hit enter and I started a second journey. And now I have 2 journeys that are going on. And maybe one day I'll have to come down and I'll have to do a 3rd journey.
I forgot that you're like a very visual person.
Yeah, then I talk with my hands.
No, but like I remember you saying like
Yes.
in the last episode that you did, like you talk about like seeing things.
Yes.
And I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Because
is just
I see it as like, maybe I like that better because you're not going up because you're never, ever going to reach the top. But the way that I used to visualize it is like, well, this is just the first step. And in order to get to the second step, I had to learn this one. And then when I'm up here, I couldn't have made it here without these lessons before. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like every lesson is something that you're going to take with
that
you
you're building on
the next journey.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
I
the way
love
I
that.
visualize it. Yeah, but I like
that too.
yours how it's like not like up. It's like
It's just
this.
linear
And
across.
every time you do one, you're taking the tools that you learned the time before into the next one.
And they're still ongoing.
like
I don't put
leveling
a
up. It's
period.
like a
I don't put a
video
period
game.
at the end of them. Like, there's no period at the end of this. They're all ongoing.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of expanding. And so, because, it was like, well, I did this whole journey and I'm learning, how am I going to learn more things? Well, I'm going to expand. Like, my mind and the way I learn, all these things, I'm just going to take in more. And it's kind of, you start playing the piano and it's really difficult. Well, then eventually, you learn to play the piano and then you learn to play the guitar. Yeah. And then you learn to play the trumpet. I mean, how do people speak 6, 7, 8 languages?
You expand.
You just expand and you just keep shoving a little bit more in there. And that's kind of what this journey was. I thought, this is a new issue. I need a new journey. I need new tools. And I'm going to take what I've learned, but I'm going to just expand on it. And I'm going to confront this specific issue that I'm having. And then we're going to go from there. And so my first journey, I think my word was clarity, right? I kept saying I needed clarity on decisions that I needed to make. And really, I just needed, the thing is, when I think about it now, I knew what I wanted to do.
Right. We said that, I swear to God, in our last
exactly
episode.
What I wanted to do.
We're like, people are like, I don't want to, what if I do this and I feel like, and I divorce my husband? And we're like,
You already wanted to.
you want to.
that's
You don't need mushrooms to tell you want to.
I needed something and or someone or whatever to just say, you know what you want and you can do it. Because I, for a long time, was like, I can't live on my own. I can't pay my own bills. I can't do all this. And then literally I did that journey. It was like, yes, you can. It was literally like, yes, you can. And I was like, oh, like I'm not the first woman who's ever been single and like paying my own mortgage. Okay.
Do you ever feel like you said like you woke up the next morning and your husband came in and said like, I think we should get a divorce or something like that. Or you guys were already separated.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, I do feel like even though you learned that in your journey and you got the clarity you needed, sometimes I feel like the universe throws you a bone and is like, she gets it now.
Yes.
We'll make it a little bit easier on her.
We'll take pity on her.
Yeah, like right. Like this time we're gonna like let him come in and say he wants the divorce so she can like rest in this for a little bit. She did a really good job yesterday.
And I honestly think, because sometimes I sit back and I think, if he had never come in and said that to me, would I have gone to him the next day? And I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe not the next day.
Maybe not the next day.
We tell people to not make any drastic decisions for like the first month.
Yeah.
And let the medicine sit.
Yes. But it was, I needed
That to me was
clarity.
the universe throwing you a bone
Throwing
a
me
little bit.
Yeah.
I needed clarity. So when we came for my next journey, and Christine sat with me, connection was the word that I had. And I needed, because I think I had told her too in text messages, I feel so disconnected from my body to the point where I'd look in the mirror and I was like, not that I hated it, but it just was like,
It didn't feel like what you
no,
felt like?
it didn't feel like what I felt like. And it just felt, it's almost like my body was like, can you love me? And I was like, can you not?
Ill.
No. And I just felt disconnected. And I mean, I was to the point.
Your body's like, please love me. And you're like, no, not
I have
like
other
that.
things to do right now.
Yeah, why are you so obsessed with me?
Like, I was taking showers in the dark.
Stop.
Yes.
Ellie.
Because it just was like, I didn't, and I say it all the time, like, I just don't, sometimes I don't want to be perceived. Like, just don't perceive me.
You didn't even want to perceive
I don't
yourself.
perceive myself. Like, I want to go out and I'm like, I don't need anybody to know that I'm a human. Like, don't look at me.
I am shocked you have mirrors in your house, honestly.
Yeah, I have a lot. It's just really unfortunate, actually.
Well,
To keep you in check, you know?
But what I will say is
you humble.
they come in use at post journey.
Right.
She turned into like the fucking baddest bitch who like, I mean, I feel like
Maybe that's what I need.
What?
That's what I need.
To journey with me?
No. To journey with me.
Over there?
We can journey together. I'm just like, we were saying, like, I am not that sexy, sexual, deviant person. And we were saying, like, there's a block with me and I don't know what it is, but that's just, and I'm, I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe that could be an intention one day.
Yeah. I think I need to guide you.
Oh, you got the magic touch?
Yeah.
Hey,
We'll get into that. Don't even start. We're gonna wait.
Oh God, I don't even know where this is going.
Well, I knew that here's the other thing. I was excited for my first journey, right? I mean, she walked in, she's like, you nervous? I was like, no, man, let's go. Let's get this done. This one, she came in and I was like, I mean, the night before, I was having some wicked anxiety because I knew I'm going to have to face my shit. And this is something I don't want to look at it because I knew it was going to hurt. And then there was also this mixture of, I know what to expect, but it's not going to be what I expect. I knew that the things I was going to see and some things I was going to feel, but then at the same time, like,
because you're like, I've already done this.
Yeah, I've already done this, but at the same time, I know it's going to be different. So then now I'm like, I know how it could be, but it's not going to be. Oh, and I was so twisted up about it. I mean, she came over in the morning, and like I said, I had this freak. I mean, she was supposed to come over at like 10:30, and I woke up at like 8, which is not me. Normally, I wake up at 10:15. Woke up at 8 and was in my bathroom wiping down the baseboards in my bathroom because I was like, what if Christine comes in here and says, ew, look at this dirty bitch.
Ew, baseboards.
I'm like mopping and vacuuming and like, it was because I was so twisted up. I was so anxious.
Well, now I'm really glad we sucked up all those spiders in the corner before she got here.
Yeah, I totally would have noticed.
I know, you would have totally judged me.
And I just was, I was so...
But think about that, though. Like, you would never judge someone else, and you were, like,
Literally
so
never.
worried about being hardcore judged.
Yes. And I was trying to get my mind off of it, and at one point I was like, I think I might just call and cancel. Like, I was really, really anxious. So then, of course, the little tiny voice in the back of my head goes, so obviously you need it. Obviously you need it. Like, this, you're avoiding... Like, ball up and do it, okay? And
this is what I wanted to talk about anxiety with you about earlier. Keep going. Sorry.
Well, so we'll
just put a pin in that.
We get into it, and kind of the same thing as last time, started feeling things, whatever, laying down, put my eye mask on, turn over. And all I remember, because I kept saying connect, I just want to connect to my body. I want to feel the things that I feel. I want some sort of, I know it takes... sometimes forever, sometimes never to actually love your body, and that's ongoing, but I just thought I just want to feel connected, you know what I mean? I just want to feel her. And I mean, I get deep into the journey, and all of a sudden I just kept thinking, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And now when I think about it, like at the time I thought I don't want to do this and I don't want to do this journey. Like, my mind was going, I want to get out of this. Because I was real deep and I was seeing weird things and that stupid playlist.
Oh my God. Yes.
It sounds, something in my brain, the playlist that plays, it makes it repeat. Even though I know it's playing different music the entire time. It's repeating over and over and over and over again.
It was the Johns Hopkins playlist.
The one with no lyrics or the
no lyrics.
classical music one?
Classical.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's something about it. I don't know why. My brain gets hooked. It literally just loops and loops. Some
of those songs, though, are 15 minutes long.
Yeah.
I know.
So you might not be wrong about that
Some of those songs,
repetitive.
when you hear them, you're like, oh, God, fucking change it.
Yeah.
Like
it sounds dark and ominous.
yes,
I don't
yes.
listen to that one.
I know. And that's
Jason does.
After that, I texted you. I was like, can you like send me some new playlists?
Yeah, that one's hard because it's got like that march music.
But
Yes.
I'm always scared
It can work.
Well, I'm always scared to experiment with something different.
Yeah.
Because music matters so much.
It does.
Yeah.
So like
The
I'm
one I
scared
sent you
to-
though, it's
yeah.
not lyrics either, and I think it like works really well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit softer.
I'm sure something else next time.
A little easier.
I got stuck in this loop, and it was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. And I kept thinking, I just want to wake up. Oh, all I want to do is wake up. I want the trip to be over.
I want out of this.
I want out of this. And then it would go through this loop of kind of darkness, ominous, whatever. And then I'd come out and I'd see light. And then all of a sudden I could feel myself going back into it again. And I think I cycled 4 or 5 times doing that. At one point I kept thinking, I'm so warm and safe. I'm so warm and safe the way that I am. Because of course, the way that curled all the way up, got my hands underneath my chin, got my feet pulled all the way up in the fetal position. And I just kept thinking, I am so warm and safe. And then when the dark, ominous part came around for that cycle, the only thing I kept hearing was somebody else is going to take that away. I just kept thinking, somebody's going to take it away. Like if I were to date, you're not going to be warm and safe anymore. They're going to take it from you.
Oh.
And I got really freaked out because I just was like,
No, don't take it.
No, I want to stay. I just want to stay right here. I don't want to get out of my bubble. And I freaked out a little bit and cycled through that for a while. And then all I remember is that, because I think we talked about this too, there wasn't as much specific stuff in this one. It was a little more kind of vague feeling as opposed to very obvious things. But one of the very obvious things that came out of it is after I went through this, you're warm and safe and someone's going to take it from you. It was something about it was specifically not everybody's going to hurt you. And we talked about this a lot after I came out of it, was that I tend to put the things that my ex-husband did to me or that my mother did to me, I put those things on other people. And I mean like strangers, like absolute, like I take one look at him and I'm like, oh, he would think that I like this. Like I see like a really hot guy and someone will be like, oh, go talk to him. I'm like, no, he probably thinks I'm too fat. Where did that come from?
Who put that
I'm
there?
judging this guy from across the room. He could be the nicest, sweetest guy in the whole wide world. He could just be fucking gay. Who knows? Like, and I'm sitting here going, no, he's going to think I'm too fat. But it's like I put all of my insecurities and the trauma that other people and the things that people have said to me, I've stored them all up in my life and I put them on other people.
Yeah.
And it's, it's not fair to them. Like,
Right.
That's not cool. And so, I'm cycling through this and all I kept getting was not everybody's going to hurt you. Not everybody's going to hurt you. And then I sat there and I'm thinking and I'm like, obviously, I mean, look at you guys. Look at my friends that I have. Look at my sister. Not everybody's going to hurt me. And, I've always been a very pessimistic, sort of nihilistic, but covering it with humor kind of a person. And how sometimes you're like, that person's so peppy, it's so annoying. There was that part of me that thought, I don't want to be peppy all the time. I don't want to always be like, life's great. And I thought, I don't know if it was like the cool girl in me that thought like, I need to be realistic. I need to be like, level-headed and a little pessimistic. Well, then after that journey, I mean, I might be going off script a little bit, but in the last like couple weeks, I have just made it a point to like see the good in everyone and everything.
Holy shit.
When I tell you it has, I mean, in literally just the last 2 weeks.
Transformed your life.
In the last 2 weeks, the way it has transformed, that I just look at people as if they are not out to get me, that they're not out, like if I talk to a guy or I talk to a girl, they're not sitting there the whole time thinking about all my flaws. Because if they were, they wouldn't be sitting there talking to me.
You've had to switch to like, what's the worst that could happen to what's the best that could happen.
The best that could happen.
Or like not even what's the worst that could happen, but almost like the worst is probably going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And I even say to my friends all the time.
What if it doesn't?
I'll say to my friend all the time, what's the worst? The worst I could say is no. The worst I could say is no. I apply for a new job. The worst I could say is no. Like I got really, worked up about going and applying for a new job and going to interview. And I was like, I need to wear a power suit and I need to go get dress pants. And everyone's like, just wear scrubs. And I was like, what if I don't get the job because I'm wearing scrubs? And they were like, okay, that's on them. Like
then it wasn't for you.
Then it wasn't
either.
for me. And I've just, like I said, in the last 2 weeks, I just morphed around to this, like, I mean, if I don't think those things about other people, when I look at someone, I'm not sitting there going, oh God, their ears are crooked, or oh my God, they could use a little extra dry shampoo. I've never thought those things about the people that I love, or even strangers that I talk to.
Yeah.
And it was like, why can I not allot those feelings that other people couldn't feel the same way about me? Like I was making everybody out to be cruel in my head. Like I'm walking around
because you were cruel
because
to
you were
yourself.
cruel
I
in
was
your
cruel
head.
to myself, yes. As if I'm this like I'm the nicest person, and I wouldn't think about that, but everybody else is mean. And I was like, okay, like I don't know whether that's narcissist or whatever.
But you weren't nice to yourself.
But I wasn't nice to myself, no. And so, this journey, I only tripped for like an hour. I think, like I said, I only cycled for 4 or 5 times. And once I hit that where it was like, not everybody is going to be mean to you, I remember I was going into another cycle and I went, God, I don't want to do this. And I heard my stupid voice in the back of my head say, well, you better get it right this time and maybe you won't have to. And I went, okay. And that was the last cycle that I did.
So I want to say the first time I've only been stuck in a loop once, and it was my very first journey, and it is absolutely terrifying when you're in it because you feel like it's never going to stop.
Yes.
And I'm just now realizing it was very similar to that, in that like I was repeating the cycle and I was just like, oh my God, okay, I get it. Okay, I get it. I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get it. And it was the moment that I let go was the moment that I was like, oh,
now I get it.
This is what letting go feels like.
Yes.
And then the cycle stopped, the loop stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, that's what it feels like. This is what letting go feels like. So for you, it was like, this is what it feels like to let go of these ideas that other people are having these thoughts about me that I'm having. Mm-hmm. What if they weren't? Mm-hmm. But you don't, that realistically, but feeling it.
Yes.
Completely different.
And that's where I go with the disconnection. I could say my feelings versus reality. I knew I can look in there and say reality, but my feelings are different. And that's why I felt this disconnect. And I needed to connect them to take what people say to you as at face value, as what they say. If someone says,
you look really pretty today.
You look really pretty today. I think I told you about this. Because this happened before this journey. At the bar. My friend and I, we were going to go out. And with no intentions of one night stands. It was just me and her going out because of the way that I was raised and, being married for someone. I never did the bar hopping thing. I never bounced around a bunch of bars, never went out drinking with my girlfriends, literally never done that. She was like, we're going to Bardstown Road, put a sexy dress on. We're just going to go have fun. So I did. Did my hair, did my makeup. We both put our little mini skirt,
sexy outfits
on, and we go walking into O'Shea's. Never been to O'Shea's before in my life, right? So we go waltzing in there, walk in the door. We walk right up to the bar, and the bartender walks up to me. His name's Kev. Hey, Kev, if you're listening.
Everybody knows Kevin from O'Shea's.
Kev. He walks up to the bar. He looks at me. He goes, hey, oh, you look really pretty tonight.
Shut the fuck up.
And I was like, oh, thank you. And he was like, you look really good. I was like, oh, thanks. And of course I'm like, oh, I've never been here. He's like, who kept you trapped? And I was like, I just kind of hold up for a little, so we chat. And he's like, I'm Kev, I'm Alyssa. And then we walk away and that's it, And then we wander around. We have such a good night. We wander around. Nothing happens. Me and her have so much fun. We have a blast. She came home. We pillow talk till 4 a.m. God, I love that girl. And so I'm telling Christine about this story, because of course everybody's really excited. This is the first time Alyssa has literally left her house. And people at work knew
Alyssa went out.
Yes. They literally, it was this big event. They were like, will you text me what happens? And I was like,
oh, shit.
Okay.
Alyssa's going to a bar.
Yes. And so Christine goes over and I'm like, I think I told her I'd go in the bar. And so I tell her this story and I'm like, yeah. And, the bartender says, you look really pretty tonight. And what's the first thing I said? but they get paid to say that, so it didn't mean anything.
And I'm like, will you
Immediately.
shut the fuck up?
Yeah.
They don't get paid to tell you that you look
I was a bartender
hot.
and I was not that.
And but that in my head, there was no way, I couldn't fathom that Kev thought I was pretty, that he needed to say that. And I put that on him. I put all of my insecurities on poor Kev at O'Shea's. I'm sorry, Kev.
And he's like, I was just being nice.
He did. He was just
Like, I
being
just
nice.
said what I thought.
He just
And
said, you look really pretty
he didn't have
tonight."
to say that.
No.
You were going to tip him anyway.
I was. And that was the other thing. I had said the same thing to my sister. Because I was like, oh, yeah, I got hit on by the bartender, but they're paid to do that. And she said, bitch, no, they aren't.
No.
And I was like, okay, but like...
I would never, like, I would say that to somebody if I really genuinely thought that. But, like, I was just nice to everybody else.
Yeah, you're just kind.
I was just nice.
Yeah.
I was a nice bartender.
But that was the thing. That's what I was doing, is I'm not taking people at face value for someone, because like I said, I would never sit here and say, like, you know, like when I tell Christine I love you, like, am I lying? No.
I mean it, bitch.
I mean it. When I tell Leah, like, I love you, like, I would never lie about things like that. And I think people are a lot more honest than we give them credit for. And we just don't want to believe them. And so that was the big thing. You know, I come out of this journey and it was like, I need to just take what they're giving me, pretty much. Because, you know, on the flip side, you know, then we have people that are very blatantly, obviously, like, disrespecting you or red flags. And
Right.
we're sitting here morphing our brains and trying to come up, well, they didn't mean it that way. And they didn't mean this.
Right.
Oh, shit, yeah.
So why do we make excuses for the bad behavior, but then the good behavior, we can't just take it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just take it at face value.
Yeah.
And so all I remember is it was like an hour I was under, and I wake up. I finally come out of that cycle. And I sit up, and she's sitting over by my window. And I go, Christine. Christine. And she goes, yeah, do you need to go pee? I said, turn that off. And I pointed to the little speaker that was right at my bedside. I said, she said, do you not like that music? I said, no, turn it off. So she turns it off. She was like, are you done? I said, yep, I'm done. It was an hour. I think my first one, I think I tripped for like 4, 5.
Oh, I would
4?
I would say 2, 3, maybe.
Like underneath. And then,
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
then I came out and sat there like that for an hour. This one was just an hour, yeah.
Yeah. You sat and literally looked like a drooling zombie for a solid hour, and then you turned into like you were trying to have sex with me.
Yes.
So there's that.
So
Yeah, okay.
this one,
You have to
So
listen to part
finally-
one to fully understand that context.
so I'm just like, I gotta go pee. So I go pee, and I just was out of it. And then I went back into my...
And when you say out of it, I feel like we need to clarify. Like, you're still high on mushrooms,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're just not in the peak of it. The peak of the
yeah.
experience, like, once that is out of the way, after that, you're just kind of, like, in and out of
Yes.
feeling
I feel
a
like
little
the best
loopy.
comparison is like you're awake, you're talking,
Yeah.
you feel a little drunk.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the only thing to compare it to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I always say, I was in deep.
Yeah, you
for
were
an
you
hour.
were in it.
As in, like,
And we say that when we're
Yeah.
in it,
In it.
and then when we came out of it, it doesn't mean like we're automatically like able to
No.
fully drive a fucking car.
No.
Like, absolutely not. You're still fucking tripping balls.
Oh, I was absolutely...
You're just not in
tripping
your
balls.
subconscious anymore.
Yeah. It was still pretty heavy, because even I've still sat there and I'm like, because her and I talked for hours after that. Later on talked. I still can't remember half of it. I have no idea what we were talking about. I know I turned back into a little...
You turn into like, so the first journey, you like take your sweatpants off, you're in your, spandex
Spanx.
shorts. This time, the same thing. And she does this like little jiggle where like she like walks around the room and she like checks herself out in the mirror, and she like, I could have handed her a fucking G-string, and that bitch would have been like doing the splits, handstands in the air.
If she would have opened my front door, my neighbors would have gotten a show. Like, I don't know what it is. I just...
But yeah,
You feel free on them, I
yes,
agree.
she is. She like dances around. She'll like, slam her hands on like her bed sheets and like claw her hands through the sheets. She
You're like a little sexual
She does. She turns into.
I get a little predatory.
She
gets a little primal.
That's where I was going. Both times, I've been like, she could easily try to finger bang me. I'm not sure.
Well, I did tell
I
her.
need to be fully prepared.
We like cuddled.
Full on.
Yeah, she was like, I think she was like, can we cuddle? And I was like, sure.
Scratch my head. Scratch my hair.
So it was like, I was like the dude holding her in my arms, and she would just like tickle my forearm, and she would like rub my hair. And it felt really good, but I'm like, I feel like with all the books she reads, like the fucking gay monster books, like I'm like, this could go weird like so fucking quick, and I'm not sure.
Allie, I'm not a lizard, okay?
I do love a tail. Show me what you got in those pants.
I do got a little whale tail today.
I remember at one point I said something about, I don't want to make you uncomfortable. And she was like, what? I said, well, Christine, I kind of tried to fuck you last time. And I said, because this journey was specifically about sexuality and intimacy.
I know.
You were scared.
I said I was scared because I thought, if I come out of this feeling myself, and she goes, are you afraid you're going to rape me? And I was like, no, oh my God, no. I said, but I was afraid that I was going to
you were going to make a move.
That I was going to make her uncomfortable. I said,
Okay.
I didn't want to be so handsy and flirty that Christine's over there like, where's my chastity belt? Like this bitch. Like,
Leah, I need you to come pick me up right now.
Yes. Because even when I get like, I mean, I haven't been drunk very often, but if I get buzzed or the first thing I want to do is like, I want to make out with my girlfriends.
I was literally just going to say that's one of the reasons I stopped drinking is because I became a make-out queen when I drank.
I can't help it. Girls have such soft lips.
Oh, I would make out with anybody. Like girls, guys, anybody.
Why don't you come over here and give me a kiss?
Now I'm scared.
Oh
Just kidding.
my God.
But I'm like, I quit drinking because I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
going to end up going home with someone and I'm married because I don't know what I'm doing.
I don't know. I like girls.
I like kissing.
They're just so soft. And they're just so pretty. And like I like them when I'm sober too. I like
You know
them
how
when
many
I'm sober.
furry outfits I have? I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just kidding. I do have a lot of.
Do
onesies.
you mean fuzzy? We should
No,
probably
I know
clarify.
it's not furry. I know it's not real furry, but I have a lot of animal onesies. I like have an animal onesie. They're cute. That was what we did. We did it for my birthday. Remember, I was like, I wanted for my birthday have animal pajamas,
I think
animal
I know what you're talking
onesies.
about.
I made everybody pick out a onesie.
Maybe you haven't dove into that as much as you should have.
I know. I'm like, there's something.
Is
in
there something there?
I don't think
Closeted
I'm a furry.
a closeted furry.
I did look up a furry outfit once though, and they are expensive as
She loves a
fuck.
furry.
They're expensive.
They're expensive as fuck.
Yeah, man.
Like a furry, like
One time, Jason
S&M outfit.
picked out like a butt plug that had like a tail on it. We didn't get it, but I was like, you would like that? And he's like, I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool. And I'm like, oh. It was like a rainbow tail. Can we edit that part out?
Please leave it in. Please leave it in. Please
Did I just blow your mind a little bit?
That was like
There might be something there.
that was like the kinkiest thing you've ever told me.
Did she not just say, I'm not a sexual deviant at all. I don't really get into anything. Okay, rainbow tail butt plug.
We didn't get it.
Oh, they didn't get it.
Not that one. Not that one.
Wink.
They got the neon green and black striped one is what they got. With the matching ears.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to have a conversation with Jason.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
I'm sorry. Sorry for that little sidetrack.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
Oh, I just was talking
She
about
was
how
talking
I
about making out with
probably
people.
trying to fill you up.
But yeah, you get very like sexual and you're like lying on the bed and like rubbing your body. Like I'm worried you're gonna masturbate.
The first journey, I was worried myself about that. I thought, is she still in here? Would it be weird to ask her to leave? This one wasn't as bad, I will tell you.
No. It was much more PG, and it was almost like you just wanted that connection.
Yeah, I did. I needed connection. I needed just touch connection, like
So I was just like holding her like a little baby.
I did. Will
Like
you please tell them what I did to you?
What did you do?
Was it the foot?
With your foot?
I remember that.
Oh my God. Okay.
She texted me as it happened. I'm so sorry to out you like that, but she texted me after you did it.
I was like, SOS, SOS, SOS. So,
not like that. She wasn't like, she was like, I was just like, keep me posted on how Allie's doing.
No,
like,
she said something about Leah wants to be here. And I said, where is
I know.
Leah?
I was like, I would love to be there right now. I would love to like journey with you.
Yelling your name at her phone.
Next time, I'm going to like record it.
You should.
I thought you
going
did.
to.
You said, can I record you? I said, yes.
Yeah, because yes. And that was when you were just like, you were like off the bed, like.
Did you record me though?
Yes.
Oh, I never saw it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. And then like, you know, again, throwing her hands on the bed and like, oh my God, like, look at me. I have such a cute butt. Like, oh my God, I love my legs. I'm so juicy and delicious. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, this fucking bitch.
All I hear
I love
background
her.
Because my brain is loud and all I hear is Christine go, could you please sit down? Could you please sit down? Could you please sit down before you hurt yourself? Allie, lay on the bed.
Well, that's another thing too. Like, she has a bad back. And she's like, you know, whipping and weaving and like twisting and turning. And I'm like, girl, you're going to like throw your back out. Like, sit down, you geriatric millennial.
Yeah.
So she texted me.
Okay, so I'm like, her room is like nice and cozy, but it's cold. And I get cold easily. So I'm like, you know, like nuzzling in underneath her comforter. Her bed's so comfy. And like my feet are sticking out. And she's like, oh, what's that? And I was like, it's my feet. They're so tiny. And she literally like throws the comforter down, grabs my foot, and fucking bites it. Not just like a little nibble. A little nibble. It was like, argh. And I was like, Allie.
I don't know where that came from.
Well, and then she goes, oh, that was something that like I thought.
That was an inside thought.
No, yeah, that was an inside thought, but it came outside. I'm really sorry. And I'm like, it's okay.
Did I bite you hard? And she was like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I just couldn't help it.
That's when I texted it. I was just like, I really wish I could be there right now just to witness it.
But that was an inside thought that accidentally went outside. I'm so sorry.
Wanted a bite. They look so they're so
tiny.
They're so itty bitty.
Such tiny feet.
They're so easy to crunch on.
Oh my God, I need to create an OnlyFans like, for fucking real.
Just for your feet, for
Just
real.
for your feet.
No,
Yeah.
like that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
for real.
Feet
I'm
finder,
gonna.
babe.
I mean, people. There's a guy, Dashcam365. He does comment on our YouTube, and he's like, "Oh,
Often
yeah, little
about our
often.
fucking feet.
Dude, I'm not wearing socks today. I gotta put the
Oh,
dog.
he's gonna leave in the comments and
Put it
he's
on
gonna
the
say, tell her. Yeah, there you go, Dashcam365. You're welcome. Yeah, he's always like, can you guys wiggle your feet more? And we're like, why?
And he
can we
likes
put-
it. He likes it when we do the fast toe shakes.
So weird. We're gonna need some money. We're gonna need some money.
Watch. Dashcam365 is Kevin from O'Shea's. This episode, he's gonna hear it and be like, "Oh shit, that's me. Those are her toes. Like those are her toes. I've been missing this entire time."
Put my Venmo in the bottom of this when you post it.
Okay, totally. So also before we sat down, you said something about this journey and the lessons not being as obvious.
Yeah.
And I think we should talk about that a little bit because that happens often.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the journeys that I think people really have a hard time integrating because you come out of it and you don't know what to do with it. So I usually tell people, like, if it felt good in it, anything that doesn't feel like that outside of it is where you need to move, where you need to take action. So like remember that feeling of like connection with that you had with yourself and focus on that. And anything that takes away from that is where you should be like putting your focus on changing.
So honestly, even so at the end of this journey, so after, I came out of the deep part and I get a little frisky and whatever, I crashed like instant. I mean, I don't even know what it was, but like I was flitting around the room and we were having a good time.
And then, yeah, you got
and
exhausted.
then I just stopped and I went and laid down. And that's where, she goes, okay, you were here and you are all the way down here now. And it just came out of nowhere. And I sat there and then that's where we talked a lot. And some of it I remember. And because I remember I kept bringing up my ex and she was like, again, gotta let it go. Like, and I was like, I have. And she's like, you haven't. Because everything relates back to him. And I always thought of it as like, well, that's the easiest thing that I've known. I've known him for so long. Like, that's the easiest thing. But then again, I was like, wait, I don't think I actually have let go. I don't think I have. Because I do. I keep still bringing him up. And we sat there and we talked about a lot of stuff and about doing instead of just, taking this and going from there. And I can't remember how long we laid there and talked.
You are also someone who is very all and it's perfect or it's nothing.
Yeah, I am very black and white and all or nothing. Like, I'm one of those people where, they say like, oh, just go for a walk for 10 minutes. And I'm like, 10 minutes isn't going to do anything. I'm not going to do it. And then, I haven't taken a walk for 4 years now.
Think of all those 10 minutes and how much that would have added up.
Yes. Instead of like in my mind, it's like you have to work out for 60 minutes and be sweating and hurting. You know what I mean? So, and I that's kind of everywhere in my life. I'm like that, which is another thing that I'm working on. And so, I crashed for a little bit. We talked a lot. We talked about my human design, about how I'm a generator and these types of things. And she went to leave. And I remember on the first journey when she left, I was still, like I said, riding this high, floating around, went outside. Well, after she left, I haven't told you this, but I got angry. Like, angry. And I went and I sat on my back porch and I was sitting there because I like to at least be in nature afterwards. It just makes me feel a lot better. And I just kept sitting there thinking, and I hadn't really dug through it yet. And I thought, okay, nothing came up. Did it even do anything? I feel like all it did was pretty much just reiterate that, like, yeah, you're a little fucked up when it comes to intimacy, babe. I guess that is what it is. And I just sat there like stewing on my back porch for another probably 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
And came back in, went and laid on the couch for a long time. Same thing. Then I thought, you know what? We'll go to bed and like the next couple days will be better. I'll get that high back. No, never got it. Not the way that it was the first time. And I started getting mad. And I was like, and I even went through a phase where I was like, well, that was pointless.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And so a couple people at work knew that I was doing it again. And I had come back to work and I was there for 2 or 3 days. And then later on, I was telling one of the girls about it. And she goes, I'm not going to lie, I was expecting something a little different. She said, especially after your first one, the way you were, I was expecting more and it's not there. I said, yeah. And I don't know why. And so then that's where, we had talked about that. That's where then it hit me. It was like, okay. There's nothing for you to hide behind. You can't hide behind the high. You can't hide behind the goofy and the funny. There's nothing. There's no barrier. There's nothing there that deal with it. This is it. Deal with it. Like, it almost was like the shrooms this time saying like, hey, we threw you a bone last time. Hey, we gave you that. We eased you into it. It's over, babe.
This time you got to do it.
Yeah. No more spoon feeding. This time it's you. Time to do it. And that's really how it felt. And so we had talked, Christine and I had talked about how I was a generator. And so I thought, okay, first step, let me just see what that entails, like for my human design. And I'm reading there and it says that generators are ruled by their sacral chakra. So I thought, okay, I don't really know anything.
Just where all that like sexual stuff is.
Yeah. So I start looking into my sacral chakra. And it's like, if your sacral chakra is blocked, you experience loss of intimacy, fear of intimacy, like issues with creativity. And I even had to tell her, like, I had painted my front door months ago. I'm talking like 6 months ago.
Did I send this to you?
No.
Oh, it's horrendous.
So bad.
It's the inside of my front door. Like 6 or 7 months ago, it was like 11:30 at night, and I thought, what? I'm going to paint that. And so I got the bright idea I was going to paint it pink with clouds on it because I thought that would be so pretty. Like I had an idea in my head. It's miserable, right? It's so bad. So bad.
It just looks like white. She has like white blobs on her door.
Yeah, it's bad. It doesn't look like clouds. And it's the wrong shade of pink. So for literally 6 or 7 months, every time I walk by my front door, I mean, it still has the green painter's tape on it. Every time I go, just paint it back white and deal with it later. Like you're just staring at this. I just paint it. But like even my creativity, like because it's blocked. And so, it's like your sacral chakra, no creativity, loss of intimacy, sexual dysfunction, irregularity in your menstruating. And I'll have you know, not to get too in depth, I've always been irregular. I've had one period this year. One.
Damn.
I just had it like the week before my birthday. So March. It was like a 97-day cycle. I'd gone 3 months without one. Irregular periods, tight hips, which is me, lower back pain. I mean, all of these things. And I'm like, motherfucker.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So at least it was like, all right, I have a plan now.
There's a work on my sacral chakra.
I'm going to open some stuff up down in the nether regions. So yeah, I started doing a sacral chakra meditation with a lot of humming, chanting, and I mean, I just found it on YouTube, and even doing things like more hip openers because I was so focused on my lower back and my lower back hurts all the time. And I thought, well, let's do some hip openers. Let's even things as simple as like your sacral chakra is orange. The energy is orange. Eating my fucking carrots out of my pitcher. Carrots, sweet potatoes, citrus, like increased all my orange foods, like little tiny steps like that.
Did you send her the chakra book that you and I have, like the workbook?
I thought I did. Yeah.
The one you were working on when you were there?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I literally did it while
She
was in.
Because I don't think people think it's that. You're making it sound easy, and it kind of is.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. Like it's like, no, you can work on your like throat chakra by eating more blue foods, and you know. Yeah. Anyway, it's wild how
it is.
Simple it sounds.
Pause. What time is it?
2:55.
Okay.
How much time you got?
Like 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can rein it in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is simple, but it was like, again, I just had to do it.
Yeah.
Because then, of course, my mind immediately goes into this like, well, you're not going to heal yourself by eating carrots. You're not going to heal yourself by just
rationalizing it again.
a 10-minute meditation. Like you've meditated before. Okay, but I haven't done this one specifically that focuses on like, this orange ball of energy in your sacrum and like all this. I mean, and again, to sound hippie woo, I don't know if it's just a placebo, whatever, but like after 3 days of it, felt better. Like felt a change.
Holy shit.
Already. And like even, I
don't do enough of that type of stuff.
You really should do my root chakra journal. Or sorry, chakral journal.
Yeah.
Chakra journal.
And that's the thing. Like, I'm the one who like introduced you to the chakras and the chakra book, and I've got the bracelets and all the shit, but like, I have that book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I've read the books. I don't dive into it. And that's what I was telling you earlier. Like, the way that I've been drawn to blues lately, like the way that you've been drawn to reds, I'm like, there's something there. Mm-hmm. And I literally just said that this morning.
I'm gonna buy it for you when I get home.
Yeah.
Buy what for me?
That journal.
It's not the one that I sent you?
I don't think so.
Okay.
It might be different. I don't know. Maybe it is.
Okay.
Well, what's
tell me
funny is that I, quote unquote,
put it in our bio. Put the link in our bio.
There we go.
Send it to me on Amazon.
Link below. I always, quote unquote, believed this stuff. Or I shouldn't say always. I mean, recently.
Yeah.
But then I don't know that I fully believed it would work.
And
again, went back to I believed it worked for others when my sister talks about it, and I go, I get it. I don't think you're crazy. I totally get it. When I hear you guys talk about it, I'm like, yeah, man, I get it. But again, it went back to, but it's not going to work for me. And it was like, I believed it happened, but it wasn't, I'm not going to do it right. Or so if I'm not doing it right, and then so it has morphed into, like I said, in the last 2 weeks, intention for me has been and I think part of it was, when I was growing up religious, there was prayer, and I always was under the impression I had to get my words right. You know what I mean? You have to ask for things correctly, and you have to make sure you're in the right mindset, blah, blah, blah. And if I don't say it exactly the way that I need, then God's not going to provide that.
Damn.
Wow.
And so for now, when we talk, whenever I think about manifestation or intention or anything like that, I have always thought, oh crap, if I don't word this exactly correctly, I could maybe I could get the wrong thing. And then it was like, it's intention, it's energy, it's being open to things, instead of being so, like, sometimes I'm really, really specific in my intentions. I wanted I got a new job recently, and it was like, I wanted a certain hours, and I wanted this bonus, and I wanted a certain pay. And I went in and interviewed, and some of those things were up in the air, and I kept thinking, well, I was, trying to do some intentions, and I thought, well, I'll be okay if it's not this, and I'll take less pay, and I'll take that's enough. And then finally I went, what? Why can't I ask for exactly what I want?
Oh.
Why can't I? Why can I not do that? And so I, like, at the end of the interview, I was like, they said, what hours do you want? I want these hours, and I would really like it if I could get a bonus, and I would really like to make this much money. I got everything. Everything.
So you texted me this,
Mm-hmm.
and you said, this was just like a week and a half ago, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you said, like, we need to meet up soon. I have been manifesting the fuck out of my life. I got a new job, $30,000 bonus, whatever. And then you said something about your personal, like, romantic stuff. And I was like, holy shit, bitch. And then I texted Leah the other night, and I was like, we should have her on because I want to hear it, and I want to hear about it while she's on air, because I feel like she's such a great storyteller, and
But also because you have been doing the fucking work, and now you know what that looks like, and being open to doing new things, and you know what that looks like. And it's like, it's kind of like before you got into the woo, and you would, like, hear me talking about it and be like, oh, right, this bitch is crazy. But then, like, you didn't.
I didn't think you were crazy.
I know.
I didn't think I would experience
That's what
it.
I meant. That's what I meant to say. Like, you were, like, seeing it, and, like, that's great that it works for you.
I believed you.
I've just never had that experience.
And I didn't believe I could.
Yeah. And it's
until I did.
Yep. That's exactly, to me, that is what spirituality is. When you experience it yourself. And I can say this in front of you because, like, you have the same type of religious trauma that I have. I never experienced anything religious.
Never.
They were just, my mom would always be like, you just have to have faith. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. So I never felt or experienced anything from religion.
But I think it's because it was always outside of you.
Yeah.
Where spirituality is what's inside of you.
Yes. Because I wasn't allowed to explore or question or any of that. The religion that we grew up in was, we were told that this is what it is, and this is what you need to believe, and this is what you should feel, and this is this. And I kept sitting there thinking, I don't. So I must be a bad Christian, because, you go to some kind of service and, I can feel God move. And I'm like, where?
Or like,
I can't.
I think
just a breeze. Like,
I know a lot of Christians who are like, oh, I could never go see a medium that goes against my religion, that type of stuff. But then I'm like, but you're listening to a man say he talked to God last night and is having dreams and prophecies. And what do you think a medium is?
It just, like you said, spirituality is it's so personal. It's so, and that's why, like, that if you want to be Buddhist, Taoist,
that's
Muslim,
the other thing about it is,
it.
I thought, because of growing up in religion, but I didn't have the religious trauma like you guys, but it's still conditioning.
Yeah.
But I thought spirituality was, I'm not like you. I don't fit into this box of like these people who come on social media and they're like, this is the profound thing I'm going to say to you on my reel. Like, I'm goofy and I'm funny. And so I didn't think that I would fit in that.
Oh, you didn't
Does
think
that make
you would fit into that.
Right.
Okay.
Because I was like, I'm silly and I watch Bravo and
There's no box with religion. I mean, spirituality. There's no box.
now I know that.
Yeah.
I can be whatever I want to
You
be.
can be whatever
as
you
long
want to
as
be
I
and
get
believe whatever you want to believe.
as long as I get to
and
just
you're not
be
wrong
right.
in whatever you're thinking or
right.
feeling or doing.
But that's too what I love about this podcast is I think there is that thought that I'm not this.
I'm not her.
I'm not her. I'm not this whole thing.
You don't have
like,
to be.
I can't be that. But I think that we do a good job of showing people they don't
Be
have
you.
to be. Like
Remember I said that before. I was like, I think sometimes people saw how I started getting into crystals and getting into the woo, and they were like, if I do mushrooms, I'm going to turn into that. And I'm like, no, you won't. You'll just be more you.
I thought I had to do the sage. I still don't do the sage. I still don't do the crystals. I don't do all that. I do my own thing.
Yeah.
I think spirituality meets you where you are.
Yeah.
It doesn't say, I'm over here, come to me, come to me. I think it says, I'm going to go and I'm going to meet you exactly where you are.
Clip.
And that's what it is to me. And that's when I finally started finding things that were meaningful to me and finding myself is when I was trying to like force myself over here and go over here and maybe I'll try this. And then instead I was like, why don't I just sit here and see what happens? And
Love that.
it has found me and it has connected me with like-minded people that I can share my thoughts with. And like, it has been the best thing
You guys,
for me.
I'm vibing so hard right now. And this, I can feel it.
Did it just hit? Did it just hit you? How long has it been? Yeah, it's been about an hour, 40 minutes.
Her eyes behind her glasses.
You took the Amanita. I did not. You and your THC. I can't. That's what I said. I
need to
can't
hold your
drink
hand?
it.
I was like,
I need to hold your
I'm
hand.
so in alignment with the both of you right now.
People are watching this being like, I don't want to be that. Like,
You don't have
so
to.
aligned
I'm
right
so
now.
Weird. And I didn't think that I was spiritual. Come on, just give me.
You
some,
are in your own way.
Just give me some Amanita, and I am.
Okay, remember that pin we put in earlier? And I said I want to come back to it?
Not really.
Okay.
Oh, the anxiety?
All right. Yeah, the anxiety. When you were talking about how before this journey you had so much anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
And we have touched on this. I don't think people... I think people try so hard to get rid of their anxiety. And they're like, I just want it to be gone. I don't want to have it anymore. And I see it in a different way. I think that anxiety is an invitation to move. And the way that you said that earlier, how you had so much anxiety building up before this journey, I will admit I have anxiety before every journey because
my God.
you
Absolutely.
don't know what's going to happen, but you're trusting the process.
You're in a very vulnerable state.
Yeah. So I think it's normal to have anxiety. And then you said, and then this voice in the back of my head said, that's exactly why you need it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Because I don't think anxiety is a base level emotion. The same way that I don't think that anger is a base level emotion, right?
Yeah.
When someone's angry, they say, I'm angry. It's like, no, you're not.
There's something under
There's
that.
something there. Either you're sad or you feel like you're out of control.
Anxiety is not a feeling or it's a
No.
feeling. It's not an emotion.
Yeah.
To me, it's a response to something else.
Yes.
And mine was fear. I was feeling fear. I was feeling a little bit out of control.
that makes perfect sense because this is what I was trying to say. Like we say all the time, like, you know, people who start microdosing and they're like, well, then I started feeling more anxious. And I'm like, well, take a look at when and where you're feeling anxious and try to understand why it's making you feel that way. Is it is it at work? Do you feel anxious when you're not putting up boundaries or you're not saying what you need to say or you're taking on too much? Or do you feel anxious around a certain person?
Because anxiety is not always bad.
Right.
You
And
need anxiety.
You need it.
That's
to
what I was-
survive.
Yeah.
To me, I think we've morphed this gut feeling into anxiety, and I need to tamp it down. And it's like, no,
That's your intuition and your gut.
You know,
And-
you go out to the bar and you're like, oh, Sleaze over there in the corner is giving me the ick. Like, you're getting, sometimes you just get anxiety, and that's good. Your body's saying maybe you need to move away.
Be
Yes.
friends with that.
Yes, be friends with that. I need you to
Not with the
face
creep in the
it.
corner,
Not the
but
creep in the corner.
the anxiety that's coming up. It's there for a
Yes.
reason. But I think a lot of times drinking numbs that anxiety until the next day, and then you're like even more highly anxious. And another thing that like amplifies anxiety is caffeine, and I don't think people realize that. Like if you are already an anxious person and you're drinking caffeine every day, it is only going to make you more anxious.
Literally, I work with a guy who is the most anxious person. He walks in the door and immediately he like takes a look at our board and it's like, oh, I can't do this. And what about this? And blah, blah. And then he walks into the break room and starts chugging a Monster. And it's like, my
love
dude.
him. Bless him.
No, we don't like him.
Bless
It's like,
him.
my dude, you know that's not making you feel better.
I don't know
You
that people know that. I've had
I
people say
mean,
to me before, like when microdosing, and I try to explain, like, try not to microdose and drink coffee, because if you're already anxious about microdosing, you're going to be even more anxious, and it's going to amplify that.
Yeah.
They're like, I didn't know caffeine caused anxiety. And I'm like, I thought
What?
everybody knew that.
I thought
But
everybody knew that.
okay, maybe it's just the bubble that I live in, but okay. But yes, it causes anxiety. But to your point, like, it's necessary. And I was telling her, like, there have been people in my life who brought me so much anxiety. I would have the anxiety if I saw their number pop up or I saw them calling me, and I'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And it was there for a reason. They weren't for me. And I had to put up boundaries. And then there are times when I have anxiety, and this is where I was saying, where my 16-year-old son is driving and I'm in the passenger seat, and I'm like that, I'm not trying to get rid of that.
Yeah.
That's going to be there because my kid is learning how to drive.
Right.
Yeah. And I think,
You want to be safe, and you want him to be safe.
Yes.
And I think there are levels of anxiety where it's because of nothing. I mean, there's even been times where I've sat there and go, why do I feel anxious? I'm
Right.
sitting in my bed.
Yeah.
And like, to me, I think facing it is when you then learn to pull the two of them apart.
Yes.
Am I actually anxious about something? Am I anxious about work? Am I anxious about this? Or am I just having anxiety because I'm laying in bed? And that's where I go, because I still think, I'm off of all of my pharmaceutical drugs, off of all my antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. I don't think it's a problem if people still take them. I think some people do need to take anti-anxiety medication. It's fine. But
maybe they don't have tools to.
They might not have tools, but I still think it is obviously beneficial for you to learn to say, this is the type of anxiety that my medication can handle, because it has no source, it has no meaning. That's just an imbalance, and
I'm just a highly anxious person.
Yes, and that's the anxiety that that medication needs to take care of. Or there's the anxiety that I need to dig in and I need to tear the two apart.
Like situational anxiety?
Yes, situational anxiety, where it's a job or a person or whatever. And that's where you need to take action on it, and I need to get away from that. And that's where, before this journey, when I was having this anxiety, I thought it had nothing. Right? I thought it was sourceless. And I'm going, oh, why is my heart rate going? Why? And then that's where I sat down and was like, what are we feeling? Are you afraid? Do you really not want to do it? Are you like, what? Where is this? Why are you cleaning your bathroom? You never clean your bathroom. Why are you cleaning your bathroom? And that's where I had to sit down and say, what is the source of you freaking out right now? And it was fear, because I knew that my shit was going to be shown, and I wasn't quite sure I wanted to face it. And so the anxiety was saying, you need to run away. You need to run away, because who wants to see all the crap?
No.
Who wants to sit there for an hour
hard
and
to
go,
see.
these are all the problems that are wrong with you and you need to fix this? Nobody wants to see that.
Yeah.
But the more that I have these journeys, the more that I tack on to the end and I expand the things that my tools and the things that I need to learn, that's where I go, who wants to be shown their shit? And now I'm going, I do.
Show me my shit.
I do.
Dude.
I want to know. I don't want to hide anymore. I want them to show me. I need to know, and because
Show me what to do next.
show me what you next, because each little minuscule kind of mountain that I've overcome with my mother, with my ex, with my divorce, with this, every time I deal with this anxiety and this, and I get shown my shit, it's so much better on the other side.
Dude,
Much better.
Therapist Carol Ann is crushing it at her job. Like,
God, Carol
you
Ann,
are one of her
Is that her
best
real
clients.
name?
Yes.
Literally.
Oh,
That's
I
her
was
name.
like, you were like, I love Carol Ann. I'm like, do you know Carol Ann?
I
The
talk about her
whole
all the
time, the whole
time.
time she was saying that, I was like,
I love
Carol
her.
Ann would be so proud
I
of
love
these
her.
words.
I love Carol Ann.
Yes, I do.
She's a good one.
And she
Good therapist.
dresses so well.
Okay.
She's so cute. God, I don't know if
Alright.
she's out there listening, but I do love her. She's great. We do EMDR together, and she's
Love that.
wonderful.
But
Well-
that was all
But that
like,
it does
just beautiful.
it
was.
just feels so much better, and I keep that in mind every single time. I think it's really
It always
crappy,
feels better.
It's going to feel better, and you know, some people might say that's really basic, and if that's what it takes to get me there, then that's
Call
fine. It
me
doesn't matter how
basic.
simple. It doesn't matter how basic, but just to remind myself that on the other side of this, I'm gonna be
How many-
happier, more well-adjusted.
How many times have we said that though? Like, we're like, we go through shit though. Our lives aren't perfect.
Oh, God.
No.
We just go through it in a different way, and we don't get stuck in it because we know that there's another side to it. And it seems like the more practice you have, the easier it is to handle when you're in the throes of it and in the thick of it. So I wanted to say that because I was like setting the table up for our new setup, by the way, that we did just for you.
Love it.
To our creepers out
I like
there.
being the center of attention.
And I found this set of cards that I bought like how long ago? Like a year ago. Never opened the box. Hold on.
Where are they at?
Oh, there's my fingernail. I lost a fingernail. Not fingernail, it's just gel. It's polish. It's polish. I lost a gel polish. I looked down at the beginning of the episode. I was like, what happened to my finger? Okay,
We
it's
were
called
looking at each other and judging.
Here's
man.
my fingernail.
Oh man.
Cards Against Anxiety. And I'm actually going to gift this to a friend who messaged me and was just like, when you are feeling like this way, what do you do? And I was like, I have a timeout corner in my bedroom, and I go in there and I like watch my trashy TV because I don't want to blow up on my kids and my husband, and I feel my feels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in timeout. I go to my corner. I was like, find a safe place in your home and go to your corner.
Go to my mind palace.
Yes, my mind palace, my safe place.
Yeah.
But it's a book, but it comes with these cards, and I'm gonna gift them to her because I'm like, put these cards in your timeout corner and just pull one, and each one is a way to like move through anxiety. So there's square breathing, love your belly, which is like rest a hand on your belly, breathe in deeply through the nose and feel your belly expand outwards, then breathe out through your mouth as the belly relaxes back. There's like all these little
I love that.
tricks and tips in here that like do a body scan, sit or, and then it tells you on the back of it exactly what to do.
You need to link that for
I
people who want it.
For sure will.
Because
I'm
I
like,
totally want to buy it.
I bought it because the packaging is so fucking pretty.
Avi.
Never opened it until today, and I was like, oh,
That could not scream Leah more.
right? If I could just like dip myself in this.
Yeah.
Colors
You're,
theme,
yeah, you're
this
like
color.
a sherbet cone or something.
She's totally sherbet.
She is very sherbet.
Oh,
And I
love
lick
that.
her.
I'm scared to go out with you.
What's that movie? Silence of the Lambs? Like, hello, Clarice. Like,
I think that guy's sexy.
yeah, but like
Whatever.
in a like,
In an endearing way.
Oh, in a
endearing-
non-cannibalistic way? Okay.
exactly. And like, yeah,
You're
much,
cool.
much kinder.
I would be okay with you doing it.
I'd be okay with you locking me in
I'm-
your basement.
Girly pop Hannibal.
The millennial Hannibal.
You know, Hannibal with bows in his hair.
Jesus Christ, that went weird. It's okay, we're here
She
for
made
it.
it weird. She always makes it weird.
I love that you said that
You
about me.
do. You do.
Hey,
Stop.
we're all so fucking weird. Like the conversations we had before we hit record, like I wish we had been recording then, but kind of glad we weren't. All right. I am loving this whole journey. I've loved this journey for you from the beginning, but like I think it also goes to show that this journey is not a one and done. You're not healed. Each step is a step and to another step. Each lesson is a lesson for another lesson. and you're constantly building your tools up and you're constantly building up your tolerance to the shit that we call life.
And I think it can be overwhelming to go, the healing is never ending. It's never ending. And you go, for a while there, I went, seriously? It's never going to be done?
I'm going to have to do more?
And now I go, it's never going to be done. I get to do this. I get to keep doing it. Because again, it's just one more thing I get to learn. And then like maybe if I learn it, I get to tell somebody else. And then maybe they get to tell somebody else. And so now it's more, I see it as this
gift.
I don't like the word blessing. Yeah, we'll go with gift. I see it as a gift that I get to keep doing it. Because what's the other option?
And we are just spiritual beings here to have a human experience.
Yeah.
And so we got to do the human shit while we're here.
Do you know, I've said before, like there are people in my life who I like look at and I'm like, why did they get the easy way? Like, why don't they have to do the work? And I remember feeling like this my first year doing the work, being like, why do I have to be the one that has to do this? And that person gets to do this and this and this, and they don't have to do any of this inner self work or self reflection. And now I'm like, oh, that's their karma. Mm-hmm. They aren't doing this and they are miserable on the inside. They will never admit to that, but I know they are because I used to be that. I know they are. So that is why I'd look at it as a gift now instead of a curse. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of times people in the beginning of this work feel like it's daunting. And I think maybe I've told you, maybe we've talked about it. Jason in the beginning was like, I wish I'd never known. I think a lot of people think that in the beginning, like life was easier before I knew this shit. And then you get over that hump of that and you're like, oh, but I wouldn't go back now. No. There's no way I would go back.
No. Oh God, no.
Yep.
I'm really happy that you're on the other side.
Thank you. Me too.
Any closing statements, any life lessons or anything we want to put out there for anybody before we go? I feel like you said it all, but
I feel like I said it all. I'm going to try and
what's your favorite monster porn book?
Oh God.
We'll link it.
You'll never leave me alone.
No, I kind of want to read one. I'm just saying.
I'm
like,
going to read one.
It's a curiosity thing for me. It's not a judgment. It's a curiosity.
I'm going to read one.
Do you want male or do you want male-female?
I want male-female.
Is there female?
I need like...
There's some female. I haven't read a lot.
I'll do male-female. Let's start with that.
Yeah, give male-female.
The Demon's Bargain.
The
Demon's Bargain. We're linking it.
There's magical pegging.
I don't even know what that is, but I want it.
I don't know.
I don't know
if you do because you don't know what it means. I don't know.
That's my life motto. I don't know what it is, but I want it.
I don't know what the pegging though. I'm not sure.
We're gonna find out.
Hot. Okay, it's hot.
Okay.
Hey,
don't knock it till you try it.
And it's real short. Real short.
Okay, perfect read. All right. I'll read it this weekend.
And on that note.
I hope you guys enjoy Allie as much as we do. And her footsies.
Tell me I'm funny. Tell all your friends I'm so funny.
I thought you meant like right now. I'm like, you are funny.
Yeah, tell me I'm funny.
You're so funny.
Oh my God, thanks. Oh my God.
Believe that.
Okay, I believe it.
Okay. Stay curious, be open. We'll see you guys on the other side.
Bye.